Alright, so after doing a test playthrough as well as just making sure that the ROM in general works okay, we are doing a modded version of Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And we are actually doing a ROM hack of it, and what you'll see that's different about this one compared to the original is a couple of differences here and there that I'll bring up as we go throughout. But let's just get right into it. And I'm happy to be playing this for the channel. This is actually one of my favorite games of all time. I've been playing since I was probably 5 years old. This game actually came out, would say, around the time or shortly after I was born. So I think that's pretty cool. But anyway, this is Dinosaur Land, and in this strange land we find that Princess Toadstool has gone missing again, because she's been kidnapped by Bowser once more. Nothing new there. And I'm doing a two-player playthrough just to make it more visually interesting, so it's not just all Mario. And as you'll see shortly after we get to Luigi, he does have his own sprites from the All-Stars Plus World version of Mario World, so he doesn't have any different stats, but they did make him taller. A couple things that are missing, though, on him are from the All-Stars and World port, as you might see if you go back and watch the sort of fast run-through I did. I can't remember if I did it on two players there as well, but Luigi had his own victory animations, which were pretty funny. One of them was when he would go past the exit goal, he would cross his arms all sup-dog, and he'd have kind of angryish looking eyes. I just thought that was really funny. And they also had him turn towards the camera and sort of do that same thing while he was running young Yoshi. And as you may notice from the design here, a little bit similar to the first level in the first Mario World game, particularly with that position of blocks there, only it's a bit different. And you also notice that this is actually where Chargin' Chuck came from, this asshole right here. And he does quite a few different things throughout the game, from what you'll be seeing. He makes copies of himself. He calls in enemies that are flying, such as the flying Koopas we'll get to in a bit. Let's see, he'll also throw footballs and toss boulders at you. I have no idea what the heck his problem is. And I will be going after every single Yoshi coin in each level. Thankfully, I have a pretty good idea of where they're all at. And let's see, here we go, Yoshi. This is actually where Yoshi came from as well, by the way. Hooray, thank you for rescuing me. My name is Yoshi. On my way to rescue my friends, Bowser trapped me in that egg. And you'll also notice one other thing, depending on what color Yoshi you have, or what color shell they have in their mouths, they get different power-ups. And I think this is also where the moles came from. As we'll see much later in the game, there are mega moles. They're just bigger when they have shades on. It looks really funny. We'll get to that at some point. And a couple of other differences that I can name right off the bat from the GBA port is not only does the GBA port run at 30 frames per second, it also has a few cutscenes here and there that were added into it, including an intro cutscene. And depending on whether or not you had the princess rescued, would determine how the end of that scene played out. And I don't know why I did that. I think I'm mainly doing that just to show off that, okay, see that little coin in the upper right? That tells you that I got all the coins in the level there. There would be a similar feature on the GBA port as well. And here's our first Switch Palace. And I recommend activating these, because it's going to make the rest of the game a lot easier, and you'll see why when we get to certain other levels. Oops, fell down. Oh well, I still got a bunch of lives anyway. There's actually a very, very easy place to rack up a crap ton of lives in one of the levels. I'll probably show it off when I get to it. That won't be for some time, though. So notice how the dotted line yellow boxes, they now become solid exclamation mark boxes. And inside these are also mushrooms. See, if I hadn't activated that and came over here, I'd have fallen in the pit and died. And I do expect to die a few times. At the very least. Granted, I have been playing this game for quite a few years. I'll actually also go out of my way to play it. Or even, I prefer to beat it at least once a year. I love the game that much. It's just really pleasing to look at. And I forgot if there's a coin down there. I think there might be. Or if it's just a bonus room. Okay, no, there's a coin down here. It's good I came here. And that's... I was just over there, so we're good to move on. And this is also where the Cape Feather power-up came from. It is the most broken power-up in all of Mario Bros, and honestly, I don't know why they never brought it back. It's my personal favorite power-up, probably in the whole franchise, if I'm being honest as well. There's so many frickin' things you can do with it. It's quite the broken power-up. And first world is usually nothing. When it comes to just doing the levels in general, it's the first world, so obviously they're going to be quite a bit easier. And speaking of easier, one thing that is unfortunately in the SNES version, I'm sorry, that is not in the SNES version, that's in the GBA port, is when you have a power-up in the GBA port, you go back down to Big Super Mario. So say for example I got hit, and I was playing the GBA port, I would revert back to Big Mario. I wouldn't just go back to Small right away, and unfortunately, that is not the case for the SNES port, but it's fine. This game's honestly quite easier, in my opinion, with 60 frames per second. And, plus, I don't know if I already brought it up or not, but Mario's weight is actually heavier in the GBA port, so that makes some type platforming a bit more difficult. So, I don't know, I think it kind of balances out. And plus, there are just so many ways to easily get a ton of 1-ups in this game. You should really never get a game over unless you don't play platformers, like, at all. Alright, and continuing on, we now have Iggy Koopa, and I'm going to be doing a trick here that you'll see in just a moment. It's to get a bunch of 1-ups, as long as you don't hit the floor, and you keep bonking all the Koopas as they come around. It'll continue as a combo, and you can get a bunch of 1-ups from it. So I'm going to let him come around and get a 1-up. You can get a bunch of 1-ups very easily early on just by doing this. I think there was another Koopa back there as well as a Yoshi coin, so I'm gonna head back here. There he is. Yep. Goodbye. And I was looking around on YouTube, and it shocked me. I didn't really see anybody showing off this mod. I'm not really sure a whole lot of people are aware of it, or just how recent the mod in general is. I will be posting a link to it in the description if anyone wants to go and check that out. And if anyone has trouble getting it to run, because it took me a little bit to figure it out myself, I would not mind doing a vid on that. Although for right now, I'm probably just going to want to get the playthrough, or rather focus on the playthrough, get that out first. And this isn't all I'll be doing on the channel. Again, I'll still be doing stuff like Hero Coliseum and whatever else. This is just something for fun that a whole lot of people aren't particularly aware of. Because I would say this is arguably from my favorite home console of all time, the SNES. There were just so many good games on it. And I may have already stated this, but this game was a launch title, and it's, for what it is, it's still freaking amazing. And that does it for Iggy Koopa. A couple other differences I can mention right off the bat is you'll see that every single one of the Yoshi eggs I'll be rescuing, they're in like a poopy yellowish brownish kind of color. They fixed that in the GBA port, and for whatever reason, all the Yoshis in the SNES port here, they all have brown arms instead of, matching colors to their own overall color. But let's actually see where we're at in recording really quick, because I don't want this to go on for too long. I do want to get this out there and just also see if, people are gonna like it. So I think we're pretty good right there for right now. If everybody would like to see more, I certainly would not mind doing so. I'm probably gonna want to anyway, though. I look for any excuse when it comes to playing this game. Again, it's one of my favorites. So if you would like to see me continue doing a playthrough on it, then feel free to leave a like or sub, or just come check back later, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.